It's probably approaching 15 years now when I spent a great deal of time fishing in the company of Nash. Yeah, amazing times for me. We fished loads of different venues, but one that's really close to both of our hearts was a big wild pit we both spent a couple of seasons on. This particular pit, it was inaccessible. There was no swims. You had to walk long distances to get there. There were no swims cut. You know, we did it all ourselves, living on little dot islands, crawling out on the bars, and it was a bit of a jungle. And it was these couple of seasons and the hard work involved in getting to these islands and actually fishing this particular pit that stemmed his fertile mind to come up with the concept of scope. He was sick and tired of the rod skins catching in the brambles, everything getting stuck and just not being free enough to move around and move quickly on shown fish. Yeah, the guy's a genius. He come up with the idea of retracting the butt into the rod, making everything super compact, but not detracting from what that rod needed to do to perform for us. We still needed to be able to cast, we still needed the backbone in the rods to be able to extract the fish. And yeah, it was a pure masterstroke from Kev. Up until that point, the vast majority of anglers around Europe were fishing with 12 and 13 foot rods for their carp fishing. The creation of the scope rod, that retractable butt, that was the birth of the scope brand. Kev really wanted to offer the anglers the opportunity to have a compact, lightweight and versatile range to go out there and have adventures for themselves. That was the birth of the scope rod. The two main lengths of the scope rods are 9 and 10 foot. The fact that they break into two and then the butt section retracts, it made that packdown size way smaller than anything else on the market. As anglers, this gave us the ability to move more freely, whether that be on public transport, riding a bike, quickly nipping out on your lunch break, going for a massive walk around a pit. We could carry all our gear with ease, nice and compact, and get on and enjoy our fishing. So whether you're an angler that likes creeping around small intimate pools, fishing right out into the pond 3 on a spot, long range boat work, casting heavy solid PVA bags, dot spods, big leads in savage rivers, this rod range really is the most versatile range on the market, perhaps with the exception of extreme long range casting. The original scope rods were launched into the market in 2011, well over a decade ago, and that has given us a wealth of knowledge, information, new technologies to pile into this incredible new range in 2025. There's new test curves in the range, refined actions to the blank themselves, giving you more power in the butt. There are options now of ceramic or non-ceramic, amazing new handle options, understated decals, logos. These really are the greatest rods we've ever produced. And as for casting themselves, I've personally witnessed Jermaine Hull cast the 3.5, 3.75 and 4 pounder well in excess of 200 yards. The main scope rods are available in a 9 or a 10 foot length. That really is down to you and your personal preference as an angler. For sure, the 10 footer will cast that little bit further than the 9 footer. However, the 9 footer will pack down smaller than the 10 footer. So it's really up to you weighing up those two options. For me personally, since the conception of the scope range, I've only ever fished with the 9 foot length. I absolutely love that shorter pack down size. And to be honest with you, I've never felt undergunned in any situation I've been in. If I had to pick my top rod from the range, it would be the 9 foot 3.5 test curve. This rod here really does have all the backbone I need to be able to cast massive, heavy 4, 5, 6 ounce leads, chuck huge leads out into savage rivers, tank big, heavy 10, 12 ounce leads when I'm boat fishing out long and reel them back in again. It's the rod for me that covers the most bases when I'm fishing for carp in that 20 pound and upwards bracket. If a good fish goes into weed, I can extract it out of it. And if I've hooked a big fish and it's heading towards snags or chains around boats, I know I've got the backbone in a 9 foot 3.5 to be able to turn that fish and pull it away. The second rod I really use a lot within the scope range is a 9 foot 3 pound version, and that is specifically for my floater and zig fishing. Now, listening to this, you might be thinking, 3 pound for a floater rod? Yes, it may come across as heavy, but the action's absolutely beautiful, and I need the backbone again in that rod for when a fish goes into the lily pads to be able to lean on that fish and tease it back out again. I've also found that when casting the heavier bolt machines or an adjustable zig with a 4 ounce lead, for example, I need at least a 3 pound test curve to be able to send that rig right out there with ease up to distances of around 100 yards. And of course, at the other end of the spectrum, the tiny little 6 foot sawn-offs, the kiddies rods, the toy rods. But for me personally, some of my biggest fish right across England and Europe and beyond have been caught on those 6 foot sawn-offs. I absolutely love them. They're available in a 3 pound test curve and a new 3.5 test curve for extreme carp fishing situations. Anglers will often associate the sawn-offs as nothing more than a stalking rod, However, I use them an awful lot within my fishing themselves. They really are an absolute asset. Whether it's just that mobility thing, I've got my rucksack, got my unhooking mat, and I've got this tiny little set of 4 rods, and I can move so much more freely. For this first June launch, there are 2 new ranges of rods, and at the top of these 2 ranges is the Scope Ops, an all-new and extended range of premium scope rods built on a 30-ton high modulus carbon and low resin blank with a 1K Torrey external weave for exceptional crisp recovery and stunning playing curves across all of the test curves in the range. The overall design is subtle, understated, and quite simply stunning. Scope branding along the sides of the handle as well as at the rear above the butt cap, carbon pipe reel seats with engraved Nash logos, flattened thumb grip, sea guide fittings and guides with guide options in both ceramic and non-ceramic available on some of the options, anti-frat tip guides, carbon line clips, matte whippings, and available in either a new premium hardware in dark cork, khaki green full Duplo or traditional yet with a very modern feel abbreviated handle options. Test curves wise, we've got £3, 3.25, 3.5 and 2 new test curves, the 3.75 and the £4, making these absolutely ideal, not only for big carp and casting heavy dot spods, but also any other crazy fish you may wish to try catching. In terms of the sawn-off options within the Ops range, there are 2 test curves currently available, the £3 and the new 3.5 test curve. Only available on an abbreviated handle option, and again, Jermaine has cast these ridiculous distances well over 100 yards. The second range of rods are just called Scope, bringing the renowned compact packdown and performance to all at an incredible price point. These are a new range of scope blanks, also offering unrivaled versatility. We always try to cater to all our anglers, and our previous Dwarf range offered access to the scope way of fishing at an entry-level price point. After consistently improving that range, especially the rods, we soon realised that what we were actually looking at was, well, essentially a scope rod after all. Hence why we've included the entry-level model into the scope range now, and Dwarf is no more. Built on a 24-ton low-resin carbon blank, they feature a strengthening helical weave to reduce distortion and enhance recovery for improved casting distance and accuracy. All models feature Sea Guide TGM Minima style ringing with a selection of the lengths and test curves, also available with full ceramic guides. Sea Guide reel seats, easy fit bespoke line clips, matte whippings, understated decals and detailing, and finished off with anti-frat tip guides. Honestly, for the money and their performance, these are truly special rods indeed. Yeah, I know, that is a lot of different options, and that's not taken into account in the future there'll also be a brand new range of Black Ops. But as anglers, we all have different needs and different requirements. There is, however, one common theme that runs right across all the ranges of new scope rods, and that is the innovative, patented butt lock peg system. This patented removable fitting at the butt allows any scope rod to be secured directly into the ground. It's ideal for scenarios where you want to fish tips up, like for getting your main line over weed beds, bars and snags. The additional stem supplied with every scope rod allows for a quick twist and lock connection to the butt lock peg, and then just a simple 90-degree turn secures the rod in place against even the most violent of takes. And with a quarter turn twist, it is instantly disengaged when you pick the rod up. And that gives you a quick insight into the new ranges of scope rods now available. But scope is way more than just a rod. It's way more than a luggage range, unhooking mats, umbrellas, sleep systems. It's a complete way of fishing. And I, for one, can't wait to get out there and continue with those scope adventures, traveling here, there and everywhere, putting those rods to the best uses.